We took the University of Kansas Sport Management program, majors, minors, over to London and Dublin to study abroad. This was our first time getting to put something like this together for a few years. And so, that's really where it stemmed from, was just this kind of recognition in our program that sport is so global. That was a component that we were not we were addressing it in the classroom, but ultimately that was a lived experience that we knew we had to be able to bring. And so for us to be able to put that together and to go see two cultures of sport that we're not super familiar with, and to be able to immerse ourselves in there and really learn from those that are living, making it happen, was out of this world. We ended up partnering with a number of different organizations, and so the cool part about a study abroad trip is that it's definitely not a vacation, and so we try to be very transparent with students that it's not something for those that are just trying to go and hang out and kind of just do their own thing. It's very regimented. We had a pretty tight schedule, so really from 9 to 4 each day we were packed doing different experiences, whether that was talking with individuals, going and doing tours and sightseeing, all kinds of different things. And so really when we were looking at kind of the scope of what we wanted from the experience, our goal was to make it very well rounded. We didn't want to just do a bunch of different tours. We didn't want to do just a bunch of guest speakers. And so we tried to balance each of those with kind of just what made the most sense for our learning objectives for the course. And so when we got to London, we did everything from Wembley to Wimbledon, getting to see center courts and getting to see just kind of the magic of what a premier sport event looks like at Wimbledon was really neat to see, getting to kind of hear kind of some loopholes of how people can actually go and experience that if you are in and around and maybe can't afford the full kind of ticket package to go to that. It was fun to kind of get to see that in action. Everything from just how much they prioritize their facilities, how kind of the magnitude of what sponsorships look like in comparison to what we have here in the States. So then we took a tour of the London Olympics, all their kind of facilities, got to see really how not just the role that it played kind of in their society, but really how it still has a presence, how it's still being used. You see the stories of different communities that have put on the Olympic Games and how facilities are just kind of thrown to the wayside and not really able to be maintained and used and converted into different kind of events and spaces. And so to see London prioritize that and make that something that they used it, really it reminded me when we take our sports sales team down to Atlanta, and we often stay right by the kind of the Olympic Village where they're in Centennial Park in Atlanta, and we see the presence that the Olympic Games had in that community here in the States, to then go to London and see the very similar kind of situation happen there as a springboard to kind of catapult them to where they are now, was just fascinating to hear those stories and kind of walk the steps that people had when they were kind of envisioning what they wanted that to look like. We went and got to experience cricket, which was for a lot of us our first time getting to experience a sport like cricket. So we went to the Oval. They had a match going on, so that was an amazing experience to get to see. We went to really the one that I think was pleasantly surprising to us, that really I think all of us across the board just recognized right from the moment we stepped foot on the grounds, was Charlton FC. So their soccer club was prepared for us. They had personalized the experience. You could tell that they had kind of studied up on us. They knew the Jayhawks. They knew kind of everything we had going on here. And so really from the get-go, they not only were trying to teach us things, but they wanted to learn from us as well. And so that was one of those experiences that immediately kind of, again, just confirmed to me that this is something that, it's not just a guest speaker coming to campus to get to learn from. To be boots on the ground in Charlton's facilities and getting to see the magic and kind of hear the stories and really be able to experience that was something that I think all of us were just blown away by. And then, let's see here, I'm trying to think if I forgot anything from the London. I think that I think that was all of our London trip. Outside of London, we then, oh, I guess, and another cool part was we did stay in King's Crossing. So if there's any Harry Potter fans, platform 9 3/4 was right there. We got to see kind of the train station that's used in the movies, and so little components like that was pretty neat. We used obviously heavy their public transportation, things like that. So little components that we've been really, for the most part, preparing in class, teaching about how the presence of those kind of components feed into sport. We got to see all of those in London. When we ended up flying to Dublin, we stayed at Trinity College, where the Book of Kells is located, and so that was something that was just out of this world. Was to get to stay at Trinity, to walk kind of the steps of what college students there would be getting to do, was something that I didn't know how cool of an experience and how that would elevate our trip to another level. But we got to hear from a great guest speaker from Irish Rugby, getting to talk about, he was actually from the States originally, so it was amazing to hear his story transitioning from the States over to Ireland, to Dublin, and kind of hearing how he made that work, all the process he did. I could see our students kind of being inspired by like, hey, I could do that. And that's something that I hadn't really thought about, but yeah, you're right. To pack up boxes and to load things up and to move your life to a new country is something that is now maybe on their radar. So getting to hear that lived experience. We listened to, had a very interactive activity with Ireland, Ireland's Sport Ireland, and so we got to tour their campus, got to see all of their efforts for their youth development up through their kind of premier elite, all the investment that they have from top down to develop sport there in Ireland was right there in Dublin, and so that was amazing to get to see the presence that really how amateurism is used at a whole different level in Europe was something that I think a lot of us were not really prepared to see, and then honestly kind of gave us hope that maybe there's things we can maybe bring back here to the States and lessons we can learn and instill those in our organizations. We had a behind the scenes tour with Gaelic Athletic Association. That was something that was kind of a two-part. So we actually had students go and experience the Gaelic Games. And so we had coordinated an activity where they got to participate in hurling, Irish football, Gaelic football, and then also handball. And so that was something, getting to see them participate, actually learn the rules, how to play those sports, and then go and hear from Gaelic Athletic Association to see kind of, again, how they bring that to life on match day. Was one of those kind of 1-2 experiences that I think all of our students just loved. And then we also went to Howth, and so got to see, went and toured, did a nice walking tour around Howth village. And so really, again, I think really from top down, we had kind of everything packed in that 9 to 4 day. And then after that, we had students that, you know, they got to kind of go off on their own and find their own experiences to kind of really then bring their learning full circle. When I was first approached about a study abroad trip, I was overwhelmed. I was nervous. I really didn't even know what to expect. Honestly, I had very little thought that was something I would ever do. I knew our program had done one, had done a few kind of years ago, but that's something that had kind of fallen off, wasn't really on our agenda. And so I invited Angela Perryman to our Introduction to Sport Management class in the fall, and working with Angela to prepare for that class and kind of getting to hear how our KU Study Abroad and Global Engagement component fits into really KU's mission and vision for where we're going as a university. It was inspiring to see her and her staff's dedication to enhancing the student learning experience. And so I think when that was something that we brought to class, I was inspired by that moment, as well as our students, because I had emails from a number of them, several who ended up being on our trip actually. So I could see that not only was I inspired as this being something that we needed to bring into our program, but I had a lot of confirmation from students that yes, hey, I'm looking for this. Like I want this in my learning experience at KU, and I think for me, at the end of the day, in my job, my goal is to bring a learning experience that is not something that you're going to find at any other university. That's something I work hard every single day to do. And so my learning objective was to really bring that activity-based learning to the forefront. We weren't sitting, doing lessons and lectures and that kind of stuff when we were over there. We were boots on the ground, getting our hands dirty, learning, immersing ourselves. And not only that, but our students brought their A game. The amount of industry professionals who approached me after our visits and said, we've not had groups come in and be able to ask questions like they've asked, and not only ask questions, but also then contribute back when the different professionals ask them questions like, hey, how does it work in the States? Our students were so prepared, and that's a testament to our faculty, the dedication that they've brought to the classroom to really kind of set that foundation. So again, just a major stepping stone for our program. Hopefully that's something that when we're throwing those kind of crazy assignments at students and they're thinking, how does this fit into my learning? My hope is that they recognize that, because I know in my classes I've done everything from public transportation to sustainability to, if we go maximize sponsorship and advertising versus really narrowing that to only a couple and limiting that. We got to see all of that being done in Europe. And I had so many students that were like, hey, we did this. I remember we did this in class. Hey, do you remember when we did that project? We should also now take that project and do something different. So I could see their minds working in ways that, as a teacher, what more could you want?